One bright and sunny morning, Tom Kitten and his two sisters, Moppet and Mittens, were feeling quite adventurous. They had spent many days playing in their cozy little home in the countryside, but today, their mother, Mrs. Tabitha, decided it was time for a trip to the bustling town. "Now, children, remember to be on your best behavior," Mrs. Tabitha said, as she carefully put on her bonnet. "There are many people in town, and you must not stray from me." Tom Kitten, the mischievous one, couldn't help but feel excited. He imagined all the new places he would see, bright shops, tasty treats, and perhaps even a parade. Moppet, the sensible one, was curious but a bit nervous, while Mittens, the youngest, was just eager to explore the world outside their home. The trio set off with Mrs. Tabitha leading the way. As they walked, the countryside slowly transformed into a busy town filled with all sorts of new sights and sounds. The streets were crowded with people, carts, and horses. There were so many things happening at once that the kittens felt overwhelmed. "Stay close now," Mrs. Tabitha called, but Tom Kitten, his eyes wide with wonder, wandered ahead. He was too busy looking at the bright colors of the market stalls and the delicious smells wafting through the air. Moppet noticed that Tom was getting farther away and tugged at his tail. "Tom, wait for us," she called. But he was already too far, and before he knew it, Tom Kitten was completely lost in the crowd. "Oh dear, where did everyone go?" Tom murmured, looking around. The busy streets seemed endless, and every face was unfamiliar. His heart raced as the noise and activity of the town made him feel small and invisible. Meanwhile, Moppet and Mittens had noticed their brother was missing. "Tom! Tom Kitten," they shouted, but there was no sign of him. Tom's heart pounded as he tried to find his mother. Everywhere he looked, there were strange faces and unfamiliar places. He thought he saw a friendly face in the crowd, but it was just a stranger. He felt scared, even more so when a big horse trotted by, and he had to leap out of the way. Back at the town square, Mrs. Tabitha realized her children were no longer by her side. She started calling out, "Tom, Moppet, Mittens." Her voice was full of concern. Tom Kitten, meanwhile, had found a safe spot behind a stack of crates near the bakery. His fur stood on end as he watched people pass by, none of them seeming to notice the little kitten hiding in fear. It was Mittens, with her sharp eyes, who spotted Tom first. She tugged on Moppet's paw. "Look! It's Tom!" With Moppet leading the way, they rushed over to Tom. When he saw his sisters, Tom's face lit up with relief. "Oh, thank goodness! I was so scared," he confessed. Moppet gave her brother a comforting nudge. "We were scared too, Tom. But don't worry, we'll stick together now." Just as Mrs. Tabitha appeared, the kittens ran to her side. "Where were you, my dears?" she asked, looking at each of them carefully. Tom Kitten explained how he had wandered off, and Mrs. Tabitha gently scolded him. "You must never stray from me in such a busy place, Tom. It's easy to get lost." "I'm so sorry, Mother," Tom said, his eyes wide with remorse. "I won't do it again." "Good," Mrs. Tabitha replied, giving him a gentle pat. "Now, let's stick together and enjoy the rest of our trip." From then on, Tom Kitten was much more careful, staying close to his mother and sisters as they explored the rest of the town.